Welcome back to Mind Trick Media. Today we are going to talk about Acolyte episode 8, and then we're going to talk about our complete season and how we feel about it. So.
It might not be in that order though, because what, dude? I saw people defending it this morning, and I actually saw people calling out Star Wars Theory for being a piece of shit, and talking out about it not being good and decisions that they made, and I saw people talking. They were like, "I don't know what he's talking about. There was no canon that was broken," and I'm just like, "You don't know fucking anything, do you?
Well,
you know nothing."
I mean, if we're just going to jump around, I'm just going to get right to it. I do feel like they kind of covered up
the end credit scene.
Well, that's different, so I'm not going to talk about that yet.
We'll get to that.
Okay, I mean, we can wait if you want, but for Kiadi Mundi, I would say, they covered that up. Because
there's a difference between covering something up and just changing shit.
Well, yeah, but obviously they changed his birthday, and he's not supposed to be alive at this point. But they did clear up the air for why he still believed that the Sith weren't a thing anymore. I feel like they did.
In what way? They never show him again.
Well, what's that? What's the master's name? The
green bitch,
yeah.
Vernestra. I learned that yesterday.
Yeah. So Vernestra, she covers up, and that's why Kiadi Mundi is still under the impression that the Sith don't exist.
But he's not back in it ever again.
Yeah, but it doesn't. I mean, I think it goes without saying.
That's the issue. It goes without saying.
Yeah, but it was an official Senate meeting that they had at the end of the episode where she said that and said what happened.
I don't know what that was.
That was her telling the Senate everything that happened.
It was just some senators.
I think that they covered up Kiadi Mundi's thing. Obviously, changing his birthday is a bitch and a half that they did. But now the end credit, the end scene.
First off, I don't know if I said this on the podcast. I called this shit before this show came out. I knew there was going to be a Yoda scene, and I even called that it was going to be the back of his head. And they're just going to pan to him and cut. Exactly how the show ended. This show, I think it had 1 point where or 2 points. I didn't understand the difference between Osha and May through the first episode. And the villain. That was a good twist. Everything else was the most predictable shit I've ever seen.
Well, obviously this episode's slightly different than the other ones. We haven't gone through the episode. But do you think were you under the impression that Osha was going to turn at the end? You thought that was predictable?
I knew as soon as she found out that her mother was killed, and it wasn't May's fault. If there was any point that it was any of the Jedi's fault, I knew she was going to turn.
I mean, I guess I'm not even particularly that mad about Osha's story, to be honest with you.
Where does she go?
What do you mean?
It's not like they forget who Osha is.
She just goes and lives her life. She's just
as
a
an
normal
acolyte.
Person. Are you talking about after the show or during the show?
After.
Oh, well, yeah.
That makes no fucking sense.
Well, what is her name again?
Vernestra?
Vernestra clearly is hiding everything.
But then she goes to talk to Yoda. What does she talk to Yoda about?
Well, I don't know.
It's hard to lie to fucking Yoda.
I mean, yeah. And I will tell you what, though.
And also, he didn't feel all those Jedi die. I already know it's bullshit.
Well, we already know that they've done really bad with that, with being able to feel.
The Jedi have no force sensitivity at all. They can't feel a fucking thing.
Well, you even see Soul. Soul has to go. Well, the only person that I feel like could feel anything was, Jesus, I keep forgetting her name. Vernestra. That's gonna bother me.
I had to say it 11 times.
She has been the
night.
only one in the show to actually go somewhere and feel something. She does possess Force Echo, clearly, because she heard May
and their Force vision to an extent.
Yeah, and she can clearly know what was going on. She knows what happened. She knows fully what happened. I'm convinced of that. She knows that Quamir is alive, and she's just fucking lying out her ass to everybody. Everybody.
Okay, so do you want to keep doing this and then go over the episode, or do you want to go over the episode and then talk about it?
We can go over the episode if you want.
All right, so I don't even remember who I wrote this about, but I said, of course she has force vision. It's either May or Osha. Oh, it's Osha when she has the helmet on. She just has force vision.
Well, everybody can see a force vision. It's just they have to either really try a lot harder than other people do.
I mean, it's not confirmed that everybody has force visions.
I think they are.
No, because Qui-Gon's weird for having force vision.
I don't think so. I think that everybody can see a force vision. It's just like people can see it better than other people, though. And then it does make sense that Osha was able to see it there because of the helmet. Like,
I mean,
she put the
helmet
on. He literally said, "You put this helmet on, it locks you into your ability."
But my thing is it just like they're just giving her a bunch of abilities to give them to her?
Well, they keep talking about how powerful she is.
That's my point. They got nowhere with that.
I don't. Well, they did. They set up to the point where she's going to be the Acolyte. Supposedly there's a season 2.
And guess what? What happens? Because we'll get to it. Give me a sec. So then another thing that just pissed me off, she called it an escape ship instead of an escape pod. I guess it was a ship, but just dumb.
That was a full-on ship, though.
It pissed me off at the moment. But and then Vernestra talking to that one senator. I don't like they fast forward the politics against the Jedi way too early. The politics against the Jedi was not even that bad during before the Clone Wars. He's legit calling them out as I think you guys are pieces of shit who are traitors who just want to use their power for their own good. They weren't even doing that. Most of the senators weren't doing that in the first movie. Why is all of a sudden this council of senators all think that same way? Do they just die and not talk about it to anybody? It's just so weird to me. And then I also, with that, I was like, it just seems so tense for the time period. The senators didn't know anything up to that point, but as soon as he sees her, he heard a rumor. And they're like, no, we need full-out war. We need to get rid of you guys. We need to disband the Jedi. And it's like...
Well, I mean, I understand the aspect of him wanting to disband the Jedi anyways, because supposedly to this point, there is no bad in the galaxy. There's no Sith. Why do we need the Jedi Order? They're kind of just...
But see, that's not even what he was arguing, though. He was arguing more of that, you guys are just taking power for no reason, of your made-up Force power. He's just mad because he doesn't have the Force, it seems like. It's just weird conversations for the time period, at least in my mind.
I don't know. I mainly looked at it, though, as, we don't really need you guys.
That's what I mean. The whole thing with that happening meant nothing to the story. Because then we go another 100 years and they still haven't done a single thing about it.
Well, clearly, they have to vote on it. The Senate has to be all agreeance in it, and obviously they're not if they continue this. And I mean, I don't. Who knows what she said to Yoda? Yoda could step in and be like this and that. And I don't know.
Dude, that's another thing. Is what did she say to fucking Yoda?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have told him the same story she just told them.
No, I want to jump forward. So if you want to keep the story going, you're
so
gonna have to go about
the next one's is the first cameo.
Okay. By the way, before you say anything, I did a lot of research on Plagueis this morning, on my way driving here, because I was trying to figure out years and stuff and trying to figure out what makes sense, what doesn't. I do know at this point, Plagueis is Tenebrous' apprentice.
He looked old to me.
He did look old. He's supposed to be 15.
He is not 15.
Well, they look... I feel like they look old anyways. But
they
also...
do, but he doesn't look 15.
I literally told one of my friends, I was like, he looks like he's been using the dark side.
Yeah, dude, he looks like toothpaste that has no toothpaste.
I thought he looked really good, though.
I think they made a good job making him look scary. I don't think he was tall enough.
I think he was crouched around the corner trying to...
maybe.
I think he was just crouched around the corner.
It is an unnecessary cameo, though, because they just don't talk about it. Unless they're confirming 1,000,000% of Season 2.
Well, there's...
But it's also just weird because
what I've heard,
Plagueis didn't really have acolytes like that.
Yeah.
Which I'm sorry. I know we're bitching, and I know a lot of what we say is more technically not canon shit. But at the same time, we got to stop just making shit up on the fly.
So
and then expect people not to get pissed because, like, fundamentally, the last 30, 40, 50 years of Star Wars is just being changed in a blink of an eye. And I understand that some people don't know that Star Wars, so they just don't give a shit. But some people do.
Yeah, so basically Plagueis, he's 15. Tanibris took Plagueis at 5 years old.
Yep.
He's been with Tanibris for 10 years now. I'm not really sure how Moons... It is a moon, right? Munes? Munes. I'm not really sure how Munes age.
They live for a fucking long-ass time. I know that.
I do think they look old in general anyways, and then obviously using the dark side, if we go based off of Legends content, and I mean, you visually see it in the prequels and, like, obviously looking at Sidious, when you use the dark side, your body starts to deteriorate and wear away. So yeah, I think he looked really good. I do think he looked a little old, but at the same time, I don't know how old I think he would look.
He looked dirty. Like, he looked like his, like, because, like, immunes are, like, honestly super clean.
I mean, he is a Sith. He's pretty dirty.
Yeah, but, like, but exactly what you said, though. He's still only 15. You would think by the time he has Palpatine and shit that he'd be disgusting at that point.
Which, by the way,
he already looks disgusting.
When I looked up his age, it said he was born anywhere between 147 and 120 BBY. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense if he's born 120. One, he wouldn't be able to be in the show. Two, Tanibris was already... It just didn't make sense with Tanibris either.
Nothing fucking makes sense.
So I was sitting here and I was like, how is it a range for when he was born? And it's like 27 years different. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Because they don't know. They're just making shit up.
If we go based off of 147, he would be 15 years old during this time in the Acolyte, which we didn't get this.
The most he is 15.
Right, and we did,
which is insane.
I don't think we got to see enough of him to know what he looks like visually to be like, all right, that's bad or good. The shadowiness, I thought it looked really good for what I could see. I thought he looked good. He looked scary as fuck. I thought it was good.
I will say they did a good job with making him look terrifying.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, we have Plagueis and everything Plagueis does with Tanibris and Palpatine, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, he doesn't kill his master for 60-something years.
Dude, the timeline makes no sense.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, it was like 60-something BBY where Tanibris dies. And I'm like, why is... I don't know if he's trying to reach out to Quimir or whatever to have an Acolyte.
Another thing, too, is Tanibris has another Acolyte, too. Because Plagueis doesn't meet him yet. Yeah, he meets him after he kills him.
Yeah. Obviously we know that based off of Plagueis' book. I did see something, I don't remember where I was reading it at, but Plagueis had multiple candidates to be apprentices, and he ultimately chose Palpatine because Palpatine would have been a good senator, which is what they did.
He was human.
Well, right, but I mean, Quimir could be one of those candidates, but Quimir, I feel like...
But people know Quimir.
Right, but I also feel at the same time, yeah, he wouldn't be able to infiltrate the Jedi, which is why I feel like he's definitely not going to pick Quimir to be his apprentice. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, is he just like reaching out for his acolytes, or is he just supposed to kill these people because they're dark force users and they're going against what Tanibris and Plagueis are doing? That's also a possibility. I think that would set up for season 2 content.
He's just like reconning.
Yeah, I mean, why not though? If you got,
but that's the thing though, is he wouldn't be able to sense Quimir with his helmet on.
Plagueis wouldn't be able to?
Yeah.
Listen, first of all, if Plagueis is going after them to kill him, he's going to whop the fuck out of both of them. And if he doesn't, that doesn't make sense.
Nothing fucking makes. I wouldn't be surprised if they killed Plagueis in the next season.
It doesn't make sense for them to kill Plagueis unless they would jump forward 100 fucking years and Palpatine kills him. We literally talk about it in canon.
I know. They don't care. Clearly they don't care because they didn't check to make the dates right. Especially, dude,
I think Plagueis is just a really big question mark right now. Don't know what his intentions are. Don't know why he's there. Don't know if he's on a mission. I feel like we can't really talk much about Plagueis. It's just a cameo. Season 2 happens, we'll know where it's going to go from there. That's all I really have to say about Plagueis.
And that's the other thing. If they don't make a season 2, this is a Darth Maul and Rogue One.
Yeah.
Or Solo. My bad. Solo. It's just there to be there.
Well, I was also talking to my friend about this on the way here, and I was like, you know what? I'm not trying to defend this that much, so I don't want you to take it this way and then just start jumping on what I'm about to say.
Get ready.
I do think it is hard to make a show in this time period anyways, because I feel like a lot of Star Wars fans are looking for lightsaber fights. They're looking for action and looking for this and looking for that. But that doesn't make sense in this time period because of not having, like, they're not supposed, the Sith aren't supposed to be there. So, I mean, the show itself, people want to complain about, like, not fighting and this and that. And I mean, like, we do get a really cool fight scene.
My biggest thing with this show is how much connection there is to Coruscant. If they would have just done all of this shit on a different planet and no one from Coruscant found out, it was just a Jedi. Like, if Vernestra was stationed at a different temple on a different planet and she was hiding the fact that her acolyte, her fucking apprentice left her and was all this shit that Khmer is, it would have been fine. She would have just been hiding it. But the fact that she's on fucking Coruscant, the legit Senate know about it. Like, it just, like, I don't understand. Like, they went too far with it.
I think they tried to push boundaries, and they really did, because it's like you ended season 1, and, like, I feel like they did wrap some things up. They wrapped up Osha and how she, like, left.
They don't wrap up how she exists in the timeline.
I mean, they created her, which throwing Plagueis into it gives it a fat question mark. Was, like, Plagueis involved with this? He could have been. I do see what you're saying. There's a lot of question marks. I do think that, like, Plagueis, Osha's and May's story to this point, I feel like got completed to the fact that we know, like, May got her fucking memory wiped. May's gone.
Which I don't understand either.
May's not May anymore. So it's like, okay, May's just herself from when she was 8 and younger. Other than that, May's character got completely wiped, basically.
And what does that do for them?
I don't know, but I also found it weird that, yeah, I don't even know.
I just, there's more things that I have no answer to than there are I have an answer to.
They really did set up for a second season, but I'm sitting here and I'm like,
do we want it?
Should they do it? Because I'm sitting here.
No, I don't.
I don't know. Because, like, if they actually do a second season and don't make it solely, basically, about the Sith, I think there's no point. Because, like, May should be basically out of it at this point. Even though she's like, I need you to help me track down a former pupil. Which I'm like,
what?
I literally can't remember her name.
Oh, Vernestra and Khmer?
Yeah, ask May for help to find Khmer.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I don't really know what that means. And then Osha becomes the acolyte of Khmer, which I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but he's an acolyte.
Is he, though?
Well, what is he then?
He's a fallen Jedi.
Well, the only thing that Plagueis tells me is that confirms that the reason he has all this shit is from the 2 Sith.
I don't think so.
Like, I guess the recon theory could be a thing, but he couldn't sense. Like, I know Plagueis was very good at hiding himself, but how did Plagueis get there?
I mean, if Plagueis is as good as he should be like, we know that there's people running around using the dark side, and we can't have that.
So he's just gonna fucking kill. Why didn't he just kill him then?
I mean, they might. That might be what happens.
You're just dragging shit out.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. If they're gonna actually, like, make
unless
season 2,
they're using them to kill Vernestra, but she already told Yoda.
Well, we don't know what she told Yoda.
There's no way she told him the same bullshit story she told the Senate.
Well, yeah, and all the other Jedi.
Fuck that bitch. Fuck her to the fucking everything.
Vernestra and I feel like Yoda at this point are the only 2 people that know. Nobody else knows. Obviously, like, Osha and Khmer know. But
I still don't get the whole... I still don't necessarily agree with you with the whole Ki-Adi Mundi don't know.
I do.
Do you think he lives another fucking 100 years with Yoda and they never talk about it?
Well, so that's what I also wanted to talk about. When we fast forward to the Phantom Menace, when he's like, it's impossible, the Sith have been extinct for millennia, you kind of get, I know everything was made backwards, but you kind of get like a look from Yoda that's kind of like, maybe he's hiding something.
We can't make fucking bullshit theories like that.
Yeah, but if you think about
We're not them.
But if you think about it, it's almost like he kind of did, because he didn't talk after that.
He doesn't talk a lot.
And when he did, he changed the conversation. So I'm kind of like,
yeah, that's part of his memo or his MO is to not talk about.
I mean,
shit.
listen, like if they can watch the Phantom Menace and read into that and be like, Yoda's not talking in this scene, he could be hiding something as well.
Dude, you're taking that thread they talked about and
listen,
making a balloon out of it.
But it's a possibility.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
I just thought of something.
But it's a possibility. And then also we do know.
Yeah, but that's one of those things. It's like they did this because of this, so this. Like that.
I mean, yeah, that's how it works when you make stuff in reverse.
No, that's the way it is. Make something that makes sense to the way that is. Not just go, well, he made a funny face. Do you know how shit of an answer that is?
Well, I mean, I guess I see what you're saying, but if we go back to the episode where, in the Clone Wars, where Yoda learns to be a Force Ghost, he sees Order 66 happen. He sees it all happen. Then he lets it happen. Because he knows that it needs to happen for the Jedi to continue.
Talking about Yoda?
Yes.
What the fuck was he supposed to do? Travel across the galaxy in 10 minutes and kill all the clones?
Yeah, but he knew what was going to happen.
Not until it was happening.
Yeah, but he didn't tell anybody either. He knew that there was going to be the destruction of the
They all
Jedi.
needed to... Oh, they all knew it. If they read the fucking prophecy, they knew that. Because Rail and Qui-Gon talk about it.
Yoda actually knew it, though, and he hid it from everybody.
So did Qui-Gon. So did Obi-Wan. So did Anakin. Anakin, to an extent, knew.
That he was going to kill everybody?
He knew what the prophecy stated, that to bring balance, there had to be balance, which means...
I don't really feel like that necessarily meant everybody was going to die.
Well, what does it mean? He's going to strip all their force powers? Or they're going to have 10,000 Jedi and all of a sudden 10,000 Sith are going to show up?
I mean, I don't know. But it's like...
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's so much of the, well, it could have been this. And it's like,
yeah, but...
At what point is everything it could have been this?
Well, that's how you continue. If you're going to keep continuing a story, you have to look into what could be because of this and because of that. I feel like you're just not doing that at all.
I get that, but saying Yoda makes a funny face in a conversation is not like a great way to do it.
It's not even that he just made like a face. He kind of just he changed the subject.
If they are using that as the reason,
I mean, okay, I get that.
The weight of what just happened in this show versus a 3-second scene does not make it a great continuation of story.
I mean, yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. I'm just trying to figure out a way of why this might have happened.
But I guess my reason is we could just accept that it's wrong. Unless they go out of their way to be that nitpicky. Which is good in some ways, but when it's like that, like they're... Like, I don't even know how to explain how, like, him making a face is just, like, that's the reason. This entire time, Yoda made that funny face. You know, the green little fucking alien made a funny puppet-ass face with a finger in his ear and went, And that's the reason that Khmer and all them lived and killed 14 Jedi and no one talks about it.
But this is also going off the 100... Well, that's also going based off the 100% thought that she told Yoda what happens. We don't know that.
But this also goes back to what we've been talking about. There's none of the Jedi have force sensitivity, where Yoda would know that 14 Jedi just up and died.
I mean, if he doesn't, then literally fucking, it's just back to the bad writing. Unless,
but that's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, Quamir's still able to...
I think the back of his head, it made me think that when she walked in, I just knew it. He knew what she was going to say. Like, that's exactly what you just said. The way he crossed his legs. Like, what the fuck?
No, I mean, I get
The
it.
way that Obi-Wan giggled in episode 3, he knew one day that it would be Padme who died, and Obi-Wan would get the last laugh for living forever. Like, he laughed at these little kids who wouldn't have eternal life like him. Like, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, you saw how crazy that sounded, you saying that to me?
I'm just saying, dude. I'm like,
We haven't talked about this episode at all. We're just...
well, it's like, what do we really need to talk about? Literally.
Well, I have notes. I mean, I'll just run through them. Okay, so the fight scene was a pretty... Everything that Soul has done has been good with the fighting scenes.
I think everything that Quamir's done has been good, too.
Okay, yeah, and they're the ones fighting.
Listen, by the way, those are the only 2 characters in the show that are worth a shit.
And Torben before he fucking offs himself.
Yeah.
But
young Torben was a
that one
badass.
force ability that Soul used when he like was caught and just like went poof, and it just, dude, that was a fire ass force ability.
Yeah.
And then immediately after that, that's when Osha and May start kicking each other, and they kick, and it goes, and then they transition. I will say there has been some very good camera transitions because they kick each other and they cross their legs, and it immediately just becomes Chimere and Soul clashing lightsabers. I'm like, that was pretty good. That was good. That was good camera work.
I also like in the fighting scene at the end of it when Soul got the upper hand on Chimere, because it shows a Jedi actually be like a good Jedi for once, because he got his ass kicked the first time around, and they all did, but
I feel like part of Soul, and this is a lot of Jedi's problems, are if the 1v1 fight he does better because he's not worrying about anybody. Who does he have to save? He's saving himself. In the fight with Jecki and Yord and them, he's trying to protect them.
especially Jecki. He really tried to protect Jecki a lot.
But I'm gonna be honest, like I think it was cool, but I don't know about the instant bleeding of that crystal.
So I am going to talk about this because you haven't played the games. We do get to see another canon event where somebody bleeds a crystal, and we get to see it. It was in Jedi Survivor. So
And who was it?
It was the guy from the High Republic. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he comes out of the back
The Wanderer?
tank.
Oh, okay.
He comes out of the back to tank, and he had his lightsaber with him, and Cal's talking to him and told him what was going on and everything, and he disassembled the lightsaber like midair. He was forcing it in the air, disassembled it, and then bled the crystal, and then forced the lightsaber back together, and then he had a red lightsaber after that.
Yeah, but that's also a Jedi who got the crystal. Like, I feel like you have to go out of your way to bleed a crystal.
Well, so
Vader had a hard time bleeding a crystal.
it's because he wasn't Vader.
And OSHA just went.
Let's be clear on the Vader thing. Vader isn't actually a bad guy, though.
And OSHA is.
Well,
OSHA in 2 seconds became
listen,
powerful
listen.
that she can just.
Listen, I'm not defending OSHA. I'm defending Vader with what you just said.
Vader had nightmares about bleeding his crystal.
Yeah.
Nightmares.
But I mean, you have to think about it. You have to get angry enough to be able to do it. And her finding out that Soul killed her mom, I mean, makes sense for her to be able to bleed it. First of all, the crystal looked like shit. It was blue already, which doesn't make sense. It looked like the plastic crystals that you can buy at Disneyland.
We are talking about Disney.
And I was like, okay, that didn't look cool. I thought it would have been like a real crystal and you could have seen it. It'd have been cool, but no, it was just a fucking plastic.
I also don't know
crystal.
if you can bleed a crystal like that and not explode the fucking lightsaber.
Well, I don't know. Like, so we've seen 2 in canon that have happened, and one
and both are fucking like canon.
Well, they both are canon. The one in the game was really cool. I thought it was really cool when it happened. I kind of said, "Oh shit," when it happened. When I was watching OSHA do it, I was kind of like, "Shit," not "oh shit." It was shit.
I also think when she ignited it, the weird transition that doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Oh my god! It had extra battery life of blue. Like what the fuck?
They did it.
And here's the
they
thing.
solely did that
Camera wise. Looked pretty cool. Star Wars doesn't make any fucking sense.
Right, so that's what I was about to say. They did it mainly for dramatic purposes, which in that aspect, it was okay. But in a Star Wars aspect, that thing should have just ignited and been red. And I also feel like with Osha, she's not 100% bad either. I feel like she would have cracked it like Kylo did. Like, I feel like it didn't make sense for her to just completely bleed it like that. The blue just turning red on the crystal looked weird. And
also, that weak ass force choke she did. Oh my fuck! First off, she just randomly has a bunch of abilities because she literally has no abilities the entire time. She can't use the force for shit.
well, she cut herself off.
Yeah, and she randomly the first thing she knows how to do is force choke someone. First off, without even moving her hand too, which I don't know if you guys know that or not, but like some force abilities, like if you're good enough at the force ability, you don't actually like you don't have to hold your hand out to force choke somebody.
Yeah.
Some people can just do it like standing there, but they're usually like masters.
Right. So I do think, well, first of all, when it was happening and Soul started to choke and it didn't look like anybody was doing it, I honestly thought Plagueis was going to show up.
Because that would make fucking sense.
I was...
Actually, take it back.
Listen.
It wouldn't make sense because he's fucking 15.
I was so convinced that Plagueis was going to show up in that scene, which I would have been more excited about if it was.
No shit, we would have been more excited.
Right, but I mean...
It would have made less sense.
I think it would have made more sense. It would have made less sense. If
See, what
Plagueis...
you're saying is it doesn't make sense.
Well, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I get her being pissed off and turning and being pissed, but, like, I don't know, like, Soul just gave up, too. It was like Torben. Torben just gave up and killed himself.
We'll get to that. I got that in a second.
I mean, okay.
So, I wrote it in this. Why can none of the Jedi use force sensitivity to find people? It makes, like, all the Jedi, they're using that fucking Basil little character. He was cool for 5 seconds. He's so fucking annoying. The little tracker guy. I don't, are we supposed to think he's cute? I don't fucking know. He's fucking annoying. And they're using a tracker to find people who are force sensitive. Like, I just don't get it. Do none of them have the force? I don't fucking know. But then, so they have this scene with Osha and May. Am I supposed to feel bad for them? At any point, do you feel bad for them? Because I felt zero bad for them.
I mean,
that was a question. Like,
yeah, I know.
I was kind of out there. But
I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to think if I actually ever felt bad for them, because, like, even in movies where there's like a villain, there's sometimes I feel like the whole point of the show was like for you to feel like, at least in my mind, like you're supposed to see the dark side's point of view and the empathy and sympathy for dark side. I didn't feel that for any of them. I felt bad for Soul. That's the only character I felt bad for this entire time.
Yeah.
I did for Osha until she just, like, all of a sudden is just accepting that her sister's just killing people.
I don't feel like she ever accepted it, because that's not what
she did when her mom died. Or when she found out who killed her mom.
She didn't accept it. That was the whole point of why she couldn't become a Jedi, because of her hatred for May.
That's what I'm saying. At the end, she does. When she snaps Soul's neck.
Well, because she found out the truth, I guess.
Dude, also, we never finished on about just her going, all right, I got a hold of you, and then just went, did we need that?
It was very dramatic that it wasn't dramatic.
It was almost like if they did Star Wars on Broadway.
Yeah.
All right. And then I have the Master Vanestra just lied her fucking ass off because she doesn't want people to know about her fallen fucking apprentice.
Well, she basically in episode 6 was already like
she
saying
lied.
Soul
She
did
lied
it.
the entire time.
I mean, yeah, I don't know of how many people know about Quimir, if anybody does.
Well, Yoda has to know who Quimir is.
Well, right, but like, did she say that she killed him when she hit him with the light? She had to have hit him with the lightsaber whip. That's what that has to be, because they both definitely felt a connection between each other. That was definitely, well, she says that it was her apprentice, but that scar on his back has to be from her whip. There's no way.
I mean,
there's no way. That's
dude, I like, if talk about someone who's like a rogue fucking Jedi.
Well, that's
in
what
the
I
order.
said. I was like, we're talking about rogue Jedi here, dude. This is the
Yeah,
rogue
and
Jedi
that's the other
right
thing
here.
too. Think like I feel like they try to make people feel intimidated by her. Walk her into any council member, she's getting fucking whopped. That dude, I feel like they want you to think these Jedi are super powerful. Like, is
I
she
felt
like
the opposite.
like is
I mean,
she
like,
gonna
we talked about-
lie to Yoda? Does she think she's gonna get away with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
All right, and then she goes out of her way to lie that he committed suicide.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
He felt so bad about what he did that he killed himself and took his life.
And another thing too, if I was gonna think about a Jedi killing themselves with nothing on them but themselves, I would probably think that they stabbed themselves with a lightsaber, right? No one asked, man, he looks like he was force choked. Do you think he force choked him? That's like trying to drown yourself. What the fuck? I feel like I really didn't want to just have to be bitchy this entire time, but like this last episode, I was just like, it's all coming out. But so there's that. Yeah, by the way, no suicides ever, 2 in the same fucking show. Or at least a said suicide and then a fucking suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then yeah, she's covering her ass because she was a failure as a master. And then I wrote that I called the bullshit Yoda thing. Like I don't remember, like I don't know if I ever said it. I really hope I did. No one's gonna be able to tell me if I did or not. But I really hope I did say it on camera because I literally like have been saying that there's gonna be a Yoda cameo, but they're not gonna pay the money to show his face. They're just gonna show the back of him. He's gonna be like, I did say I think that he was gonna be like walking away somewhere and they were gonna shut a door or something, which. Whatever, they're close enough, but yeah, and like I was telling you earlier, like I saw where there was people calling out Star Wars theory, saying that he was a piece of shit, and that he's just mad to be mad. I haven't read anything that he or watched anything that he said yet.
I haven't seen anything for the finale.
But at the same time, I'm like, go do what he does. Like the people who are bitching, go do what Star Wars theory does then. He's done hundreds of videos. He goes out to these events. He has a lightsaber company. Like,
well, what
he tries to tell you what he actually thinks about something. If you don't like someone's opinion, then guess what? No one gives a shit because it's both your opinion.
So I saw the Escape Pod podcast talking about it actually, and talking about how divided the Star Wars fan base is, and it's like.
I will say they have a funny ass clip where they were like, the worst part about this show is the lesbians. Oh, I don't know if you saw that clip, but I was just like, dude, what the fuck? He was like, yeah, the worst part about this is the lesbians. Like, they're ruining the show. He didn't mean it because they were lesbians. He just said those characters suck.
But they were just talking about how divided the Star Wars fan base is, and it's like nobody's allowed to have an opinion.
No, because the problem with Star Wars 2 is like, at least the way I look at it, it's almost like science to me, where like people can't just say opinions without being fact checked, and people fucking hate getting fact checked in Star Wars. And don't get me wrong, is there a wide range of like stories that it's hard to say, like when there's something that's like not an easy question to answer? Yeah, there honestly could be multiple answers. But to go out of your way to be like, yeah, this content creator who has millions of followers does all of the shit for the Star Wars community and millions of people love him. You're just like, that guy, like, I saw shit where they were like, this guy should fucking quit what he's doing because he's a disaster for Star Wars. He's ruining it.
Yeah, I've seen
Disney should go out of their way to make sure he's not allowed to make Star Wars content. And it's like, what?
I mean, yeah, everybody's going to have their own opinion for everything. I mean, I personally do think that there was points in this show that was good, mainly the lightsaber fights, and that was pretty much it.
Dude, and like every single time like they do something, even little, I'm like, oh man, this could go somewhere, and it never goes that. Like the whole thing with Plagueis, like I feel like they could have done something else with Plagueis. They could have had a double end credit scene where he's reporting to Tanabris. Or something that just give me more of just like his hand and then like a peek.
I feel like if they do make a season 2, it's going to have to be spectacular. They're going to have to clear the air with everything.
Dude, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
Right. They have to clear the air with everything, especially the Yoda stuff, in my opinion. and then actually have to make the majority of the show about the Sith, because other than that, I don't feel like it would make sense to keep just making it about the Jedi. Like, I don't.
I
Like, if
don't know how they get the go on making another season.
I don't know.
Unless they're gonna make another season and they're just firing the people.
She did say she set everything up for it to be a season 2.
Yeah, that's what you do when you know you're gonna lose your job.
I don't
But
know.
trust me, Star Wars will not give a shit if they go, "Hey, fuck you, you can get the fuck out," and then someone just clean up the story. But at this point, I don't know because, and whatever. I'm just gonna say it. Like, there was an interview with her where she talked about how, her and there was another woman who did one of the. She was like the director of one of the episodes. Well, she was like, yeah, that I think it was the Ki-Adi-Mundi episode where they were like, yeah, we have to run everything by Kathleen Kennedy, and we have to run everything by Dave Filoni. And I'm just like, how the fuck did Dave Filoni let that shit go? And like, I don't think I've openly talked about it too much on here, but it's just like, I'm sick of the whole like saying that specific people are the savior of Star Wars. I'm so fucking tired of it because every single time that someone says like, oh, this person's the savior of Star Wars, or this person knows what they're talking about, or this person can do this and this person can do that, they always let the fans down. Like, not there's no, like, I seen it, so like I know it's there, but like there's no fucking way that people literally saw the Ki-Adi-Mundi scene and then watched Wikipedia just go, oh, fuck it, we'll just change it. Like, what? That's like literally like people finding, like, someone made a movie about Abraham Lincoln, and we're just like, I actually think he was born 10 years earlier than what he was. And then Wikipedia, and I don't even know what else would have his age on it, just goes, fuck it, and they just add 10 years to his fucking age. And I guess he's a real person, so it's different. But, like, it's like, that's the same shit, though. Like I don't get it. I don't. It's making me, like, antsy to think about it. Just like, I'm tired of these people getting the go-ahead by Disney, getting $200 fucking million to do whatever the fuck they want to make a show that's 8 fucking episodes. And you fuck up 5 or 6 of them. You have 2 good episodes and an 8-episode show. It got more money than what Ewan McGregor in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show got. And people bitch about that show, and don't get me wrong, there's gripes in you can find a gripe in everything anybody fucking makes. Original trilogy, new sequel, prequel. There's a problem with every fucking thing that anybody does. And I get that. That's usually the kind of shit that happens. But like when you have entire episodes that have 0 good things in them, it blows my mind. Do you not have an opinion about this at all?
I'm just out of words.
Yeah, like, I don't know how long we've been on. I think it's only been like maybe 40 minutes. This is probably going to be the shortest one we do because I'm just going to sit here and keep bitching. That's just, yeah. I mean, as a full review, like, I think Soul, the guy who plays Soul is a good actor, and he played his part really well. I think the guy that played Torben played pretty well. I don't understand his character killing himself, but he played it well. I think Kamir played it well. I guess people know him from something. He's in another show or movie. I don't know what he's in.
I actually really like Kamir's character. I really like...
I like his character. I just don't know... I think he's mysterious in a way that's good with Vernestra, but she's such a shit character that I don't know what to do with her or with him.
I kind of want to like Kamir, but at the same time, like, I know if Plagueis is there, he's getting whopped by Plagueis. And I'm like,
no, whopped by Soul.
Yeah.
Soul literally cut his lightsaber in half.
Which also, I guess one last thing I have to say, that kind of was weird that he threw it on the ground because he has the other lightsaber, like the dagger. He still had something. Because that's definitely 2 crystals. It's not 1 crystal because he pulls it out of the other handle. Like, that's definitely another crystal. So I'm like, he definitely still had the dagger.
I mean, dude, you ain't gonna fight with that fucking
Well,
dagger.
he didn't need to after that, but
That's what I'm saying, though, is like, there was, like, of new characters, because we're not gonna talk about Yoda being a good character and fucking Ki-Adi-Mundi and shit, but...
well, they were on it for 2 seconds, so it's
well,
not like...
Ki-Adi-Mundi, I'll say he was shit in the show. Yeah, you have... I'm trying to think of all the other ones. Like, I didn't particularly like Jecki too much. I think she was fine. I thought Yord was okay. He was better than her, but not great.
I thought Yord was okay. I liked especially...
His character was a little weird to me.
I really liked him in episode 5 when he was just like...
When they kill him?
Well, no. When he was talking about... like the stranger, and he was like, he just doesn't accept the rules of combat.
Yeah,
like,
what we were talking
that
about.
That was like dialogue that I thought was fantastic.
I will say his character got way better as time went on.
It did.
And then as soon as it got to a point where it was like, dude, he could be cool, kill him.
He died.
Immediately kill him. That was great.
Yeah.
I thought outfits were okay.
I think outfits are accurate. I think it just...
I thought the weird outfit
think,
that Vernestra was wearing at the end was weird as shit. She was wearing her Jedi robes and this weird, like, shawl that had the 2, like, Jedi logos on it.
Yeah.
That was weird as fuck.
That was weird. I do think the outfits were good. I think they were accurate, but I think they just looked weird in live action because...
Yeah, they did not.
I also just feel like we think that because we've seen it one way for a long time that it kind of was just like...
There's a reason they got rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it looked good in the aspect that they made that accurate how they looked, in my opinion.
Yes. I don't know.
Clunky lightsabers were trash.
Yeah.
Which,
like,
by the way,
the colors were cool.
When it showed Soul's lightsaber at the end, it wasn't as clunky as it was in the other episodes. It looked like a different lightsaber.
I was getting ready to say this. They changed what the lightsaber blades and handles looked like the entire time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that too. Did you go back and did you watch did you watch the recap of this episode?
I don't think so.
Okay, but they show the scene where I was talking about where Osha jams that lightsaber into Kamir's face.
Yeah.
That blade looks like fucking shit, dude. And I noticed it a little bit more during Kamir's and Soul's fight. Their lightsabers look weird. I don't know if it's because the plastic and it's just like lighting weird when they go to edit it, but it looks like fucking plastic.
I think the color looked a little weird. The color kind of just wasn't as dark red as it usually is, and it wasn't like the orange tint either. It was like a different red. You know what I mean?
I was talking more about Soul's, but
I don't.
Kamir's looked funny too, and like it looked like when they were hitting, like they're in that scene when they're walking across that like weird walkway and they cut through it. It was like a weird, like when it was hitting the ceiling, it didn't look like it matched up correctly. Because they were also...
Well, I feel like it didn't make any cut marks until, like, later.
Because, dude, the way they, like, because they used those plastic pieces of shit, like, you looked like they let the lightsaber go through and then just edit it, like, cutting it out of the screen. And then when it was coming back down, you could kind of see where the plastic came back in. And then the sparks came, like, they, like, hit it, let go, and then the sparks came. It felt like... Ever since I'd seen that scene, I honestly want to go rewatch episode 5 to see if I notice it. But after I saw the scene where
why I think
she
we don't?
Jams the blade into it, it looks fucking weird.
You know why I think we don't notice it in episode 5 is because it's dark out.
Dark? Maybe.
It's dark outside.
I might rewatch those 2 scenes. I really want to show you after this like what it looks like. Because it just looks funky to me. It looks like it's not like screwed in correctly. It looks like it's a little loose in there. Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have anything else to say.
What's next for Star Wars?
I think Skeleton Crew. Which I still don't know what that's about. Maybe I'm just a bad fan for not looking into that.
I'm like pretty sure it's Thrawn with his skeleton crew of the like Night Sister clone troopers.
Okay.
Stormtroopers. I think that's what Skeleton Crew is supposed to be.
I think that's the next thing that's coming out. I think that's later this year.
Really?
I think so.
They might throw in something weird too, like another Visions.
Yeah, they could do like a Tales of the Jedi or like something like that.
I feel like a Visions is coming up.
I feel like a Visions would come too.
Which those are okay. They're usually like
There's some really cool
3
ones.
and 3 are good.
Yeah, there's some really cool ones.
3 good, 3 bad.
I've never really watched anime though, so I don't really have
Season
a good
1 was
comparison.
so much better than
Season 1
2.
was better than season 2, but yeah.
What's the next Tales that they could do?
Tales of the Sith.
No, they're not going to do it.
I know they're not going to, but
They're going to wait until they at least do this shit with Plagueis.
yeah. All right, well, you got anything else?
Don't think. Just, yeah. I got to show you these lightsabers, though. They look funny.
Okay.
All right.
All right, well, this has been Mind Trick Media. This is our take on the Acolyte. If you have your opinions on the Acolyte, good for you. If not,
Honestly, let us know.
yeah, I mean, let us know in the comments if you liked it or not. Have an open conversation. Or
DM us. We'll probably respond.
all right.
All right.
Well, this has been Mind Trick Media. Thanks, guys.